Students அதை பார்க்கலாம். Okay. உங்க வீடியோ நான் பார்க்கலங்க. இல்ல. ஓகே. ஓகே சார்.
Sir, we are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes. Am I audible to you all?
Quiet for a few minutes. Sir, we are audible.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Am I audible?
1 minute, sir. We'll just increase the volume.
Yeah. Hello, students. Can you all able to hear me? Hello, students. Can you all able to hear me? Madam, am I audible? Hello. Say, yeah, yes, yes. Good.
Come this side. Up with this side.
Yes, sir. They joined. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Namaste, sir. You can start.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, students. Hope you all settled well. And let's go directly into the class. Hope I'm audible to you all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If so, just raise your hand if I'm audible enough. Okay, okay, fine, good. Thank you. And if you are not able to hear me properly, again, you can show me some signals. I can check the connection issues. Yes, We'll start the class now. So please listen carefully. And in continuation with the previous chapter. Okay, so in continuation with the previous the class, a kind of repeated things we are going to discuss. Like I just highlighted the important aspect of this chapter, at least in the first page. Yes, the living world. Actually, like the thing is it is having a wonderful and simple. It is having wonderful, of course, in the sense what wonderful biodiversity. Okay, the main thing you should understand from this particular page is, yes, the living world is wonderful, and of course you can say in what aspect you can understand this. We have a wonderful biodiversity around us. Okay, what we have to understand, we have a wonderful biodiversity around us. So diversity means in simple, okay, so diversity, like we saw already, the range and variety of organisms. Okay, the variety of things, that is called diversity. And biodiversity means the range and variety of organisms. Biodiversity means what? The range and variety of organisms. That's biodiversity. So the first few sentences. Yes, madam?
Sorry to interrupt, sir. We are
Yes,
in
ma'am.
lesson number 4, animal kingdom. We are starting with. So students
Okay.
first 3 lesson it is fine for them. They need
Okay.
human physiology to be started. Is it fine
Okay.
to start human physiology, sir?
Yes, madam. And ma'am, wonderful. I can start it now itself. See,
Yes.
human physiology, which chapter, ma'am?
I
Digestion
didn't touch.
is not
It's
there.
a term 2 chapter. So I didn't touch anything from human physiology and plant physiology.
Okay, ma'am, anything is fine. So in human physiology, can I start with I think for them, it starts with from this academic year, respiration, right?
Yes, sir. This year respiration.
Yeah. Can I start with respiration now?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, ma'am. Just give me some time. Just a minute.
Yeah, fine, sir.
Yeah.
But listen, so this score is really very important. Let us ask as the brainstorming question will be added for you. And then with the topic covered, sir will give questions to be completed by sir. Is it fine? It will be again questions to ask. Okay.
Yes, students, can you all able to see my screen? Breathing and exchange of gases? Yes. Okay, good. Fine. Okay, we'll start with breathing and exchange of gases. See, all of us are multicellular organism, right? We are multicellular organism. In simple, first know what is human physiology. Okay, human physiology is the study of organs and organ system. Okay, physiology is the study of organs and organ system, and actually there are more than 10 processes. Okay, in physiology, we need to know about more than 10 processes in detail. So those processes in simple, are called the life processes. Maybe in your, please listen to me, everybody, please listen to me. Okay, so there are different life processes, like digestion, respiration, circulation, control and coordination, reproduction. All these things are important life process. So many organ system makes our organism. The levels of organizations, like organs means cells, tissues, organs, organ system, and then organism. So this is the levels of organization in multicellular organism. So to understand the complexity and organization of multicellular organism, we need to know about each and every processes in detail, and the basic idea of anatomy and functions, physiology of organs and organ system. Understand one thing in detail. Hello students, so please listen to me. Look at me, please. So understand just one thing in detail. One important term called what? Okay. There is an important term everybody should understand. That is called what? Homeostasis. Homeostasis means maintenance of normal conditions in the body. Can someone tell me what is? I think, I don't know whether you know it. Of course, everybody knows. What is 37? What is the body temperature? 37 degrees Celsius is your body temperature. And 70% of your body weight is because of water. Okay. And for example, your sugar level is 80 to 120 mg, milligram per deciliter. Can you understand? So there are certain normal conditions always to be maintained by the body. Listen to me carefully. There are certain conditions, normal conditions to be maintained every time by the body. That maintenance process is actually called what? Like maintenance of body temperature, maintenance of nutrient level, maintenance of water level. So all such maintenance is called what? Homeostasis. Okay, that is the main function of human physiology. Okay, human physiology deals with maintenance of normal conditions all over the body. That is human. That's a function of human physiology. That's the main objective of human physiology. And there are many processes in that. And in today's class, we are just going to focus much on respiration and exchange of gases. Okay, fine. Coming to the process of respiration, okay, or breathing, or even respiration, we all are aerobic organism, something called aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means, in simple, we take in oxygen from the atmosphere and utilize it, and then sends out CO2. Can you understand? Aerobic respiration means the organism takes in oxygen from the atmosphere, use the oxygen, and then finally the end product CO2 is released into the environment. That process is actually called what? Aerobic respiration. You can see it here. Oxygen is utilized, and then what is the purpose of oxygen inside the cell? You can see like glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. Okay, like simple substances like glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. Okay, they are broken down and energy molecules are produced. So that is actually called what? Respiration. See, in simple, please understand, we are multicellular organism. We do aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration involves oxygen is taken from the atmosphere and utilized for cellular activities. For example, to break down glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. And as the end product, carbon dioxide is released and the carbon dioxide is sent out from the body. Okay, so this is actually called what? Respiration. And this respiration is supported by the physical process called breathing. Okay, respiration, exchange of gases is supported by the physiological process breathing. Okay, physical process breathing. Okay, that's a simple thing you should know. And then coming to how different multicellular or unisimple animals do respiration. Okay, how different kind of organisms perform the exchange of gases. Listen to me carefully. So one thing, the first method is actually called what? Simple diffusion. Okay, simple diffusion means movement of substances from, you can say, high concentration to low concentration. Okay, high concentration to low concentration substances can move with no energy involved. That process is actually called what? Simple diffusion. So exchange of gases means oxygen in, CO2 outside. Okay, so this is called simple diffusion. Organisms like sponges, coleonterates, flatworms. Okay, so these are all the organisms which manages their respiration process by simple diffusion. So that's the one thing. And then now coming to the organisms like earthworm. Okay, organisms like earthworm uses moist cuticles which is present in the body surface. Okay, so through the moist cuticles, earthworm can do the respiration process. Okay, and then gills, they are the special unit which are used by many aquatic arthropods and mollusks. Can you understand? So gills are the special units used by aquatic arthropods and mollusks for their respiration process. Okay, and then all other vertebrates, the most complex multicellular organism like us, like reptiles, birds, mammals, human beings, we respirate through lungs basically. Okay, we respirate through lungs. So like that, different organisms use different methods for their respiration process. And more specifically, the amphibians. Amphibians does their respiration by two means. In the water, they can respirate through their moist skin because they can live both in water and land. And then in the land like us, they have a special respiratory system. Through that they can respirate. Okay, so they are the different type of modes of respiration in different organisms. Let me repeat, please listen carefully. Simple diffusion is the method by which organisms like sponges, coleonterates, flatworms will do their respiration process. Second is through moist cuticles present in the body surface, earthworms can respirate. That's the second mode of respiration by earthworms. And then third is gills are used by aquatic arthropods and mollusks. That's the third important method of respiration. And then lungs, or like a majority of the terrestrial organisms like mammals and all, they use their lungs for their respiration. Okay, And then finally, coming to the amphibians, they do cutaneous respiration, means through their skin in the water and through their lungs, pulmonary respiration in the land. Okay, the two type of respiration in amphibians is very special. One thing is called what? Cutaneous, means through skin in water, and another one is actually called what? Pulmonary respiration, that is through lungs in the land. Okay, so these are all the different modes of respiration in different kind of organisms. Now coming to the respiratory system in humans. Okay, so respiratory system in humans, there are different components of the respiratory system. See, since it is an organ system, many little organs are involved in that, in this respiration. So you know what are all the little organs involved in respiration. For example, first let's start with the nose. Okay, what is the function of nose? The main function is for respiration. Okay, nose is for respiration. Okay, or respiratory tract starts with nose. Okay, and then we have like the nostrils. Okay, we have nostrils, pair of external nostrils starts our respiratory tract, and then that leads to nasal chamber. Okay, we have a pair of external nostrils that leads to nasal chamber through nasal passage, and then that opens into pharynx. Okay, so what is the function of pharynx? It is common passage for food and air. Pharynx is the common passage for food and air. Okay, and then so like to number first external nostrils, and second is nasal chamber, and you can say third is pharynx, and fourth is actually larynx. Okay, pharynx opens to larynx, that's the first important thing. And then fifth one is larynx open into trachea. Trachea is the fifth important component. So please listen, as of now you have external nostril, first one, and then which leads to nasal chamber, second one, and then third one is pharynx, and pharynx open into larynx, fourth one, and larynx open into trachea. Okay, so this is the first level of order, and just look into the image now. Okay, so till this actually is the first important component. Okay, what we are discussing now is the first important components. Okay, external nostril, nasal chamber, pharynx, larynx, trachea. Okay, now what important function you need to know about like all of the component, especially starting from pharynx, you know, it is the common passage for food and air. Larynx is cartilaginous box, also called sound box, especially. Okay, cartilaginous in the sense which is made up of soft bones called made up of cells called what? Chondrocytes plus extracellular matrix. Okay, so cartilaginous in the sense the cartilages are also called what? Soft bones, which is made up of what type of cell? Okay, chondrocytes. They are the cells which makes the cartilaginous bones. Okay, fine. And then the next important thing you should know is about the glottis and epiglottis. Okay, during swallowing, okay, the glottis, okay, can be covered with a thin elastic structure called what? Epiglottis. Okay, so glottis and epiglottis helps in both of the functions. Like, please listen, both of the functions, like we have two passages. One is called food pipe, another one is called the windpipe. Okay, the function of glottis and epiglottis is very essential for the food to go through the food pipe and the air to be passed through the windpipe. Okay, can you understand? So that is very important aspect of glottis and epiglottis. Okay, like so this actually this units helps in what? Preventing the entry of food into larynx. Okay, epiglottis and glottis helps in what? What is the major function of that? Prevents the entry of food into larynx. So that's the main important thing. Okay, and then look into that. We have the next important unit is called what? Trachea. Okay, trachea, you can see the trachea, and which is present with what? Rings of cartilages. Okay, there are lot of rings. Again, the soft bones makes your cartilages. Okay, the soft bones makes your cartilages. Okay, trachea. And you know the functions of trachea. What is the function of trachea? Prevents collapsing of air. Okay, you'll come to know that it prevents the air not to get collapsed. That's the main function of trachea. Okay, and then you can see trachea can divide into two parts. Trachea can divide into two parts. Okay, and that branches are called what? Bronchi. Bronchi is plural, bronchus is singular. Okay, bronchus is singular, bronchi is actually plural. You can see trachea and then extend into what? So they are the passage called what? Bronchus, basically. Okay, and bronchus narrow down to form what? Bronchioles. Okay, bronchus narrow down to form what? Bronchioles. Okay, and then at last you have the air sacs called what? Alveoli. Okay, alveolus is singular, alveoli is plural. Okay, fine. So to order, what are the important thing? Like first, we already started external nostril. Second one is nasal passage. Third one is pharynx. And then of course, the fourth one is actually like larynx. And then the fifth one is actually trachea. And trachea, the sixth one is called what? Bronchi, and which leads to what? Bronchiole is the seventh one, and then finally the alveoli is the eighth one. Okay, so these are ordered one after other. So that's the first thing you should know, the order. What are the important components of respiratory system, and you should know the order and their specific function. Okay, fine. And then you should know about the other thing. Okay, like other coverings. Basically, listen, lungs are covered by a double layered membrane called what? Pleura. Okay, the entire lungs are covered by what? Double layered membrane called pleura. And in the pleura we have a fluid called what? Pleural fluid. Okay, pleura and then pleural fluid. What is the function of pleural fluid? In the sense, it reduces friction and then covers the lungs. Okay, the reduction in the friction, that's the main function of the pleural fluid. Okay, fine. So the outer membrane in connection with the thoracic cavity, okay, and the inner membrane is connected to the lungs. Okay, outer membrane, the pleura outer membrane connected to the thoracic cavity, inner membrane to the lungs. Okay, now just look into the image, all the important components which what we have discussed till now, and also you can see the ribs, the thoracic cavity here, that you can see. Basically, I'll tell you about that also. And now before going into that, there are sometimes maybe in NEET, Okay, so all these things are in your textbook. You can easily answer. There are one simple question I'm going to ask and give you the answer. So please listen carefully. There are actually 5 types of simple epithelium. In animals, there are 5 types of simple epithelium. If any one of you knows about the 5 types, can answer. How many of you knows about the 5 types of simple epithelium? Maybe in this academic year, the chapter is not there, but in class 9, you would have studied about tissues. Okay, there you have studied about epithelium, and listen carefully. The types of epithelium are squamous epithelium, and then cuboidal epithelium, and then columnar epithelium, and then
Apical epithelium.
yeah, ciliated columnar epithelium, and then stratified epithelium. Okay, so these are the 5 important type of epithelium. Okay, so they can ask you, please listen carefully. They can ask you in NEET, listen, please listen. In NEET, one common questions in most of the times they asked, what are the different types of epithelium present in different part of the respiratory tract? Okay, what is the question in NEET? What are the different types of epithelium present in the respiratory tract? Okay, and see, listen, up to the trachea. See, listen, up to trachea, you have what? Up to trachea, here you have ciliated, okay, ciliated squamous epithelium. Up to trachea, you have ciliated squamous epithelium. Okay, and then in the bronchus, you have cuboidal epithelium. You have in the bronchus, you have a cuboidal epithelium, and then in the alveoli, okay, in the alveoli have a single layer of epithelium. Okay, so there are in different part, here one kind of epithelium, and then in the bronchus another kind of epithelium, and then in the alveolus different kind of epithelium. 3 types of epithelium are actually present. Okay, fine, just keep that in mind. Okay, now okay, what you should understand, the next important thing is actually like one important process called what? Diffusion. Like already you know what diffusion is. The main function of all the components of respiratory tract, starting from nostrils to alveolus. Okay, starting from nostrils to alveoli. Okay, like the air has to be passed. Okay, air from atmosphere, air to be passed. That's the main function of all these components. Okay, and fine. One important aspect of like the main purpose of, that's the main thing about this particular paragraph. And here what is the important thing is, look at the where lungs are situated. So that's very, very important thing. See, we have in our body, the back side we have, listen to me carefully, in back side we have like different parts, like the cervical, and then the thoracic, and then lumbar region, and then sacral region, and then coxal region. See what this thing represents, or vertebral column which is present backside. Okay, our backbone consists of all these parts: cervical, neck region, thoracic, and then lumbar region, and then sacral region, coxal region. Okay, here we have 12 pair of bones. Okay, in the thoracic region we have 12 pair of bones. That is what is actually shown here. See here, the ribs, basically here we have 12 pair of bones on both of the sides. Here we have 12 and here we have 12. So that's very important thing you should understand. And now look into that. What they are explaining is one simple property of lung is, still listen, lung, do you think lung can contract or not? Can someone answer? Can the lungs contract or not on its own? Your heart contracts, your muscles contract. Can your lungs contract? Please answer. If it contracts, raise your hand. If it does not contract, give me a smile. How many of you say lung can contract? Okay, one girl. Okay, fine. So, okay, very good. Okay, thank you. Actually, the lung cannot contract on its own. Okay, listen, the lungs cannot, they have only, see, it's like most of the part is made up of the air sac. Listen to me first, let me justify. Listen to me, let me justify. Okay, see, for the contraction of the lung, see, where the location is very important. It is located in the thoracic cavity. The thoracic cavity is made up of the ribs. Here you can see, actually here, the ribs are present. Okay, and then there are muscles called what? External intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscles. Okay, there are two type of muscles basically present: external intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscle basically. So these muscles only can make the lungs to contract, and more than that, listen, in the image you can see there is one unit called what here? The diaphragm. Okay, the contraction of lungs is depending upon the signals from the brain. Okay, the contraction of this, it is another simple question. Let me ask, lung contraction is a voluntary action or involuntary action? The contraction of lungs is an voluntary action or involuntary action? Okay, voluntary or involuntary? What is called voluntary and involuntary action?
Involuntary.
Yeah, if thinking is involved, it is voluntary, owned by the brain, means self, like your brain itself controls, okay, owns the authority of contraction. Then it is called what? Involuntary action. You don't know to think, your body itself is designed in a way that the contraction can be achieved. Okay, so listen, for the lung to contract, the external intercostal muscle, the internal intercostal muscle, and then finally the signal should reach through the diaphragm. Only the diaphragm contracts. Please make a note of it. Only the diaphragm contracts, the lungs can contract. Otherwise, the lungs cannot contract on its own. Okay, just keep that in mind. So, for that contraction, the positioning of the lungs is very, very important. Okay, the positioning, where it is located. Okay, so the lung is situated in the thoracic chamber, and the thoracic chamber is an airtight chamber, and it is in the front and back. In the back side, it has vertebral column. In the front side, it has sternum. Okay, back vertebral column, and in the front, sternum is present. Okay, and then the sternum laterally it is present with the help of what? Ribs. Okay, they are the different units which surrounds your lungs. Okay, and the lower side is the dome shaped diaphragm. Okay, so along with all these units, the lung is anatomically present. Okay, located. Okay, that inner area is actually called what? The middle area is called what? Pulmonary cavity or lung cavity. Can you understand? So back side vertebral column, front side sternum, laterally ribs, and then on the bottom diaphragm. Okay, so this is the different units which surrounds your lungs. Okay, fine. Now listen to me. Another important thing which we are going to discuss now is the steps in respiration. Okay, the steps in respiration. Okay, the first process is called what? A layman term is breathing. Okay, in respiration, the first process is actually called what? A layman term is breathing. The technical process is called what? Pulmonary ventilation. Okay, pulmonary ventilation. What occurs in pulmonary ventilation is oxygen from the atmosphere. Okay, O2 rich air. Okay, from the atmosphere is taken in, and then at the same time CO2 rich alveolar air is released out. Okay, oxygen rich atmospheric air is taken in, and CO2 carbon dioxide rich alveolar air is released out. That is the simple definition you can give for breathing. Sometimes if they ask you to define breathing or define pulmonary ventilation, your answer should be, this is the process by which atmospheric air rich in oxygen is drawn, and alveolar air which is rich in carbon dioxide is released out. That's the simple definition for breathing or pulmonary ventilation. That's the first thing. And then here what occurs, see, there is a connection between this process and the final process basically. Now, the second important process is diffusion. Okay, the first process is actually called what? Pulmonary ventilation. That's the first step. Second step is actually diffusion, where this diffusion occurs across the alveolar membrane. You can see here. See, here diffusion occurs. This is the alveolar cavity, and here is this is the blood capillary. So oxygen comes in here. Okay, oxygen comes in, and the CO2 goes out. Can you understand? So this is actually called what? Very, very important process. The first diffusion. This is the first diffusion. Okay, that's what here they are talking about. Okay, so diffusion between alveolar membrane and the blood capillary. So the first diffusion occurs between the alveolar capillary and the alveolar membrane and the blood capillary. Okay, and fine. Next, transportation, diffusion and then transportation. See, from the blood capillary, blood goes to the heart, and heart pumps the blood to rest of the body. Okay, rest of the body. So that is called what? Transportation. Okay, transportation. Okay, rest of the body through what? The blood actually, blood. Okay. Now, another important step, fourth important step is again diffusion. So this diffusion is between blood and tissues. Okay, so this diffusion is between blood and tissues. So there are two type of diffusion you can see. This is one diffusion and this is one diffusion. So there are two type of diffusion that you should know. Okay, fine. So, and the next important and final important process here is utilization of O2. Okay, and this process is actually in step you can say, which is called what? Cellular respiration. See, listen, cellular respiration means cells. Okay, for example, this is a cell, takes in O2, sends out CO2. That is called what? Cellular respiration. Okay, takes in oxygen, sends out carbon dioxide. Let me ask you one question. There are a plant cell, okay, and an animal cell. This is a plant cell. This is an animal cell. Okay, animal cell. In cellular respiration, listen to me. In cellular respiration, both plant cell, what the plant cell will do, what the animal cell will do, both will take oxygen in, CO2 out. Am I correct or wrong? Or in plants, CO2 in, oxygen out. In cellular respiration, what is the correct statement? You can answer, please. Cellular respiration in plants and animals, both are same or different? Please answer. Different?
Yes, sir.
What do you think in cellular respiration? In what way it is different? How many of you say it is different? Please raise your hand. Cellular respiration in plant and animal is different. How many of you think it is different? Please raise your hands. Okay, okay. See, listen. Actually, there is no difference in plants and animals. In case of cellular respiration, there is no difference. Okay, so little things, please get clarified. Always, see, listen, always what we think is plants take in carbon dioxide, gives out oxygen. Yes or no? This is what we all think. But coming to that is in photosynthesis. Only in photosynthesis, plants takes in carbon dioxide, gives out oxygen. But in cellular respiration, both the plant cells and animal cells takes in oxygen, gives out carbon dioxide. Now you tell me, cellular respiration in plants and animals are different or same? Same means raise your hands. Same means how many of you telling same? Raise your hands. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, fine. So that's about the important steps in what? Respiration. Okay, the next thing. Okay, only with this thing we will be finishing today's class. Just listen to me carefully. Now I'm going to explain about the steps in mechanism. Means the mechanism of breathing. Okay, mechanism of breathing. Okay, please note down, in mechanism of breathing you have inspiration and expiration. Okay, what is inspiration? See here, listen, the first step is, see, since we have just 5 minutes of time, please listen to me carefully, note down the steps. The steps are: first, diaphragm contracts, that's the first step. And second step is lung volume increases. Second step is diaphragm contracts. Second step is lung volume increases. And third is lung pressure decreases, and since the lung pressure decreases, air rich in oxygen enters. Can you understand? So what are the steps in inspiration? Diaphragm contracts, lung volume increases, lung pressure decreases, air enters. That's the important step in inspiration. Okay. In expiration, what are the steps in expiration? Okay. One is, note down, opposite to all these terms. Diaphragm relaxes, or you can say returns. Diaphragm returns, and second step is opposite to that, lung volume decreases, and third step is lung pressure increases, and fourth step is CO2 rich air exits. Can you understand? So first, note down all these steps basically. Okay, in the mechanism of breathing, inspiration and expiration. Now look into the, okay, look into the diagram. Okay, that's the first step you can see. See, listen carefully. See, the first step is diaphragm contracts, which you can see diaphragm lowers. Yes, ma'am, I think your time is, if time is up, fine, we can go. Ma'am, time over, huh?
That's the time is up, sir. We
Okay,
need to
ma'am.
discuss.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, students. Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Bye.